and I'm sure Josiah will talk about it. The famous letter of the 140-something, the common word among us. That's almost the first time I've seen such a thing. Apart from that, we are not saying. Vatican has a lot of programs. WCC has plenty of programs. And it takes two to tango. There you are.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me look at time to get where we stop and where we meet. I think that the next one was the okay. Oh, it's the time for break.
You are now eating into the break time.
Right. Now, on the issue of triumphalism, who said that? Did somebody ask that question?
Yes.
Yes. And what do we do to reduce this? To reduce this one? I think that when we talk about this triumphalism, let us just be very clear in our minds that it's not only a Christian trait. Okay? It is also a Muslim trait. And one of the things that Prof. Mura actually does, Prof. Mura works with all the churches in Africa. That is, of course, including the Catholics, because some of our area advisors and our chairpersons are from the Catholic faith, and also our workers. So we work with all the churches in the African continent, and what we try to do, you know that Prof. Mura's workers, if you look at my role, it is said general advisor. So I'm not general secretary. We do not impose, we advise. The decision to act rests with the churches, not with Prof. Mura. We are a service project that gives that kind of advice. Now, special program for Muslim converts. Prof. Mura does not have a special program for Muslim converts. Prof. Mura recommends them to the churches. And there have been so many converts, but we find out where their leanings are, and then call the pastor, also in the grassroots level, and let the fellow get integrated. You are aware that my own understanding, which I think that we have discussed in the past, is that I am not for the idea of converted Muslims, Christians having their own church, kind of thing. We would rather say, get integrated into any church, but that is something that we can discuss. But you have said some interesting things about, I did not bring peace, but a sword and against father and mother. I'm afraid the interpretation you will give to these texts will not be what I will give to the text. And I'd like to say that, let's just talk about that at tea, in terms of what is it that we can say. But to grant the questioner, it's very clear that, as Archbishop said, this forum is about the whole question of relations. I wish it was the forum where Prof. Mura would deal with its first principle. This one is the second principle that we are working on here. Christians are the interest in dialogue. Let me say this. I think the modern dialogue remains a Christian initiative. And that's why I have said before that when people come and say, you are telling the Christians to work well with the Muslims, who is going around telling the Muslims that they have to work and tolerate, be tolerant with Christians? I think it's a key issue. So what we have to do here, remember I'm saying we are doing this from faith. So do we then say, when the Muslims are not doing it, we will not do it? It's a critical question to ask. Because once we are doing it from faith, we do it in spite of whether they are doing it or are not doing it. I think that the ethnic question. Please get this very clear, that we remember what I said. The fact that some people have become Muslims and some people have become Christians is very much has to do with history. We usually will say, if I was born in Saudi Arabia to a Muslim sheikh, I don't know where I would have been. I would have been Muslim. So those ones are, the conditioning is there. But what we are saying is that, does Christianity not, shouldn't it transform ethnicity as being a problem into something good, instead of letting ethnicity make it an ally to create conflict and violence. This is the bottom line of what I was trying to put across. I think that it's better I stop here unless there is something that somebody would want to...
Magna Carta, I didn't respond to it.
No, yeah.
Magna Carta. Yes, the Magna Carta is a big issue. It will require, first, I think, a common mind from high-level leaders of Christians and Muslims in Africa who agree that such a thing should be. And I believe that is one area too where the political dimension comes in. I was talking yesterday that the fact that some countries in Africa blatantly violate the principles of freedom of religion is not only a religious matter. It's a question of fundamental human rights, which I believe the AU should be discussing. And our own presidents here, Atta Mills, Goodluck, Jonathan, all those Christian presidents should be asking their colleagues in Addis Ababa, how come in your country you don't allow your citizens to be free? We always join them in AU when they are fighting their Arabic causes. But when there are things that concern us black Africans, our people tend to just give them the right to do whatever they like. So I think the matter is big. It can start from this kind of forum, but it must go a little bit much higher. And I intend to send a letter to Jonathan about it in my own country. If any of you can talk to your presidents, tell them. Because very often they are not even aware of it. They are so busy discussing other things at AU. And this is a very major problem. But I believe that this is not a religious issue. For as long as we think that the fact that I cannot become a Christian is a religious matter, then they will deal with it as religious and you won't move. But if you deal with it as a matter of my personal rights, my personal fundamental human rights. Of course, some Muslim groups will tell you that there is no fundamental human right that is higher than the Sharia. And the Sharia and the Quran says you cannot change, therefore, matter closed. I'm afraid matter is not closed. Because even in my church, no Catholic can be given permission to leave my church. He has no permission to leave. And if he goes, I cannot go and drag him by force. But I have not blessed his going away, even if he went and joined the Presbyterians. But he's free to go. And I think that is what we should be working seriously at. I don't know, John, whether this forum can actually kickstart it, since a great man with a tremendous intellectual clout has proposed it. And we are going to, if you like, if he allows us, we use his name. And move.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Shall we put our hands together for Dr. Mbillah? Thank you very much. I think I was just joking that if we went to get an African Magna Carta, we just have to maybe conspire to rope Professor Lamin Salah as African Pope. Then we convene an African Vatican III, whatever we name it, and or an unseen council.
We have a Ghanaian in the Vatican.
You have a Ghanaian in the Vatican.
Pope John.
Yes. Pope John. Anyway, so let's have a break now.
Shut up.
And then we will have a 20 minutes break. In order that we can have a long break in the afternoon, because I was told that it is an unforgivable sin in the Catholic tradition not to have siesta. And that was from the Archbishop himself.
No, it's not unforgivable, it's a mortal sin.
It's a mortal sin.
Forgive it.
So let us rise and then stretch ourselves and have a cup of